there's a bunch of choices you can choose from?
Well, you can actually upload a picture. They only give you, I think, about 5, but you can upload a picture.
Well, hello there.
Hi.
Hey.
Y'all look like y'all are all excited. I couldn't even get that out with a straight face. I laughed before I even got it out. Well, how is everybody?
Good.
Good.
Hanging in there, I guess.
Good. All right, so let's get this party started here. Let me see, I guess.
Yeah.
Let me share the screen. All right, I'm in the 753 shell. Let me move that out of the way. And of course, under milestone content, defense resources. All right, so the first one is executive summary process. And this is what it looks like. Timeline. Turn it in. All right, so Jess has turned hers in, and Jade has turned hers in, and Lori, what have you turned in?
I've turned it in.
Yeah, she's turned hers in, and so I talked with David last week, and he's working on his, and Bruce said hopefully by the end of the week here. So what questions do you have for either I or Dr. Hamilton about the executive summary?
I think I just kind of would like to know or hear like the process. And so we've submitted our draft. The next step would be for us to have a completed executive summary ready to go to you, correct?
Correct. The three that have come in, I did not have any recommendations. They all look great to me.
And we have a deadline of May the 29th to have that final into you?
Yes.
Okay, and then once we have that turned into you, how do we know that it's ready to go to the editor? And
I will tell you that day.
Okay.
I will tell you that day. The three that, as I said, the three that I got in, yours, Lori's, and Jess's, they look great to me. They don't all look exactly the same, and that's okay. And so I thought they were completely reasonable to go to the editor at that point. But you may add or subtract or may have other things. But trust me, I read stuff like this every day, all day. And if it'd been bad, you know me, I would have not hesitated to say this sucks. That's not my problem. And so the three that I got were fine to go to. We're fine to go to the editor. I've already talked with him. He's going to turn around quickly. I was very happy with the three, and I'm quite sure Bruce and Davis will be fine as well. We're not looking for a cookie. One of the things that I have to stop myself from, you know me, I make all these templates and plans and do all this stuff because I direct a licensure program. And because of that, we're all the same. We do templates, we have state grading rubrics and all. And so I have to resist, and Dr. Hamilton has to remind me all the time to do less and not more. They're not supposed to all look a certain way. They're supposed to be what you want them to be that fits the project that you've done. And so when I read each one of those, I didn't have a template that I set next to it, like when I read the capstones that come in from my program. I have a rubric that lays right next to them. I actually can pop my screen up in Task Stream where I have their document on one side and the rubric on the other. And I literally read through to make sure that it matches that rubric. That's not what we're doing here. So don't take my lack of, he didn't give me a 5-page details of things I need to fix. I didn't see those things because we're not trying to fit to a rubric. That's one of the things that happens when you do dissertations is they all got to look pretty much the same, and there's a rubric that they go by, and so that's why there's so many additions and corrections in dissertation work in order to make it standardized so it all looks the same. We don't have to do that here, and that's the beauty of a capstone. Yours doesn't have to look, and none of your 5 have to look anything like one another, and that's the beauty.
Is there a possibility? Is there a possibility that we may not have some of the, I'm going to call them objectives. I don't know that that's the right word, but maybe we don't have a 4.41 or something along those lines. Is there a possibility that, or should we have all of those things?
You should, but you don't have to.
Yeah. Well, let me mention you may not. I mean, there's some things in there that just may not apply depending on what your project was and where you went. So if you have a question though, just shoot an email to Dr. Lamb and say, I'm working on 4.41. Does this apply to me in my project?
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Lamb is exactly right. When in his principal preparation program, he is a subcontractor from the state of North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
State of North Carolina says this is what it's going to look like. This is what you're going to do. The consultancy project is Gardner Webb's DEOL programs document. So that's why you get to, you're pulling all your stuff in from your milestones, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you just fit it in, and not every project is scope. Not every project is the same detail. Not every is implemented because you don't really have any control over whether it's implemented or not. So that's the nice thing about it is it gets to be yours and not what somebody else says it ought to look like.
I sent mine to my site supervisor. I guess I felt like I wanted her to check off and say, yes, this sounds good. Well, she did some edits. And so some of the stuff that she just thought better and wanted some stuff moved around, but she doesn't understand the whole process, so I've got to deal with that. I think some of the stuff, yes, but then some of the stuff she's told me doesn't fit into with what we know needs to be there.
Okay.
All right, that's interesting. If it's just general editing to make it sound, read better, just nod and say thank you.
Okay.
If it's content or if it's something about an outcome, then you can also still nod and say thank you. But Dr. Lamb will be the last.
Okay.
We'll have the final say on that.
Yeah. Now, what I would say is, if you feel comfortable doing that, if you feel comfortable sharing this with your site supervisor, that's great. Because now I've seen a couple of, I won't say two times. I've seen a couple of these get a little strained at the end when the presentation, the person who was in there maybe wasn't aware of what was going to be said, or it wasn't as positive as it could have been or should have been. Now, that's I worry about that you understand that you don't have to let them edit your work or what you write, but they should have the gist of what you're going to say. It should not be a surprise to them if at the end of your presentation you say the only way that this could have went worse is if we wet our pants and burnt the building down. I mean, if that's the case, that should not be news to the person that you're working with. I was actually in one where the person was insulted at the end. That had come that distance was insulted by, basically, we didn't get this done or we didn't achieve our objectives. And I thought, well, now you didn't get it done, but it was kind of like they were embarrassed to be there at the group I guess they thought that they would kind of cover and say, oh, it went great, it went well. And they said, no, we didn't, we really didn't. As Dr. Hamilton just said, we can't guarantee it's going to get implemented. And that's what the student said. It didn't get implemented. And the person I saw the look on their face, it looked like they'd been slapped. And they took it as, a condemnation of them that it didn't get done. But a lot of these things that they just don't get done for whatever reason. So, that part you need to clue them in. They should not be surprised. That person was surprised when the person said, we didn't run the program. That was, and that person, I guess they thought that they would say, yeah, it was wonderful. And was kind of embarrassed. And so I don't want that to happen. But, they don't have to edit your paper. But I understand why some of them do is they're trying to, control the narrative. And that,
Yeah, and let me mention things here here too. Make sure your partner, whoever it is that is your contact person, between now and July or whatever day you're gonna make sure you thank them for letting you develop your skills working with them, because that's really the whole purpose of it. You'll hear Dr. Lamb say this in the defense or presentation, or I will say it. While you had this project to get a chance to develop some skills, you were the real project over the last 3 years, and that's what mostly we'll be talking about. What did you learn from it? We've never had one of these projects to go and say, "Boy, this went just exactly as we planned."
Yeah.
We have multiple train wrecks, but guess what? That's the real. Every project you do, there's a saying in the military that, all plans fail at first implementation. They change. You can't plan well enough for it not to be some issue. So the question that we'll ask your person, now it'll probably be after you leave the room, Dr. Lamb and I, we always do this. We just say, thank you for partnering and giving, said person opportunity. And we'll say, do you know of any reason why Gardner-Webb should not, what's the word we use, Dr. Lamb? Confer the terminal degree. That's really the only question we ask them. Do you have a reason why? Now, if they say, well, yeah, I have a reason, well, they've just indicted themselves. Because they're partnering with us. And so, no, they never say that. They'll never say, no, I don't have a reason to do that. So it really is a partnership, but you need to realize that the pressure of that partnership is between them and us, not between them and you.
Yeah.
All right. We're not going to usher you to this point of the program and say, sorry, you timed out on us, start over again. But just make sure your person, thank them for letting you partner and develop some skills. And that's how, and I know Dr. Lamb's already told you this, you want to do your presentation in light of how much you've grown as a leader. Think back to 732 when you did all those self-assessments and you did that, here's where I am, here's where I need to be, and that kind of thing. If you do that, you won't have any problem, regardless of what happened with the project, whether it was great or whether it crashed into the side of the mountain. That's okay. Projects do that sometimes.
Yeah. And that's okay. I talked with David last week, and one of the things that Dr. Hamilton just pointed out, I want you to think back to your 732 class. We've talked about this before, your leadership class. Now, if you were doing a dissertation, we would call this your theoretical framework. What did you expect to find along the way? What did the research tell you when you did research on leadership? We did a little PLR in our first course, but I know you did some research and reading when you did 732 about leadership. When we get to the end, to your consultancy, to your final project presentation, we don't ask you to go back and revisit a theoretical framework. What we want you to do is basically tell us, based on that 732 course, what you've learned about leadership and about yourself. Relate it back to you. That's the most important thing that you can do in there. I tell the story, and this is unfortunately true. I sent in on a final defense I can't remember if it was last summer or last fall. I've slept since then. And the lady came in and her project was she helped her friend with her dog grooming business. I can't make this up. That was her project. She helped her friend with a dog grooming business. And so the lady had a business just herself, and she helped her with her business. And so at the end, we asked her what she learned from this project. And she explained to us that you can wash twice as many dogs with 2 people as you can with 1 person. I wish I was making this up. Please do not embarrass me by saying 2 people can wash twice as many dogs as 1 person. That is not metaphor, unfortunately. I'm not making that up. Now, in that vein, don't come in and say things like, you know, more people could have got more done. That's you know what I've learned is you need more help, you need more money. No, we're talking about what did you learn from a leadership perspective? How did this inform your leadership? This program, this project that you went through. How did it back to 732 and those leadership theories? How did this inform? Well, I found out that it's better to be a transformational leader, inspire and motivate, than transactional. Or going back to Maxwell, the law of the lid. I lived this. I found this to be true. I read it theoretically in the book, but then I experienced it through my project. That's what we're talking about. Dissertation work, we call that, a theoretical framework. You compare your results to what you were supposed to find. You are the results in the DEOL program. Let me say that again. At the end of a traditional doctoral program, the result is the dissertation. The result of the DEOL program is not your final project or your final executive summary. You are the product of the program. What did you learn? How did this inform your leadership based on the theories that you learned in 732? Not more people can wash more dogs. Don't do that to me. That's what we want to see. So whether your project was implemented, whether it was implemented to mixed results with great success, immaterial, you were the project. How did it inform you in your leadership? How did it inform your personal growth or not? Now, don't embarrass me by washing more dogs. Don't embarrass me either by blaming your shortcomings on others or the shortcomings of your project on others. Let me explain. Again, hold 1 second. Speaking of dogs, there's mine. We had a student who presented sometime last summer, fall, whenever, in material. And she wanted to justify her project not being more successful. I thought it was a fairly successful project. But her excuse was she hadn't learned enough in the program, basically, which may or may not be true. And that's it. But my point is you can tell them how dumb I am. I really don't care. I'm old, don't really matter. But you look petty and you look like you didn't learn any leadership. You know what leaders do? Leaders accept the blame, and when there's credit, they give it to everybody else. When there's blame, they take it. That may not be the how it works nationally right now, but that's what leaders are supposed to do. You don't look like a leader when you find excuses or blame others. Your project is your project. It either ran or it didn't. It was successful or it wasn't, or somewhere in between. Most of them are somewhere in between. But don't make excuses. Don't blame others. Don't I could have done better if I'd have done it. No. Again, the project was you. The project was you. What that shows is if you're at your final defense blaming others, it shows that you didn't learn a whole lot of leadership in this program, and that reflects badly on all of us, especially you. So I'm not saying don't call. If you didn't get enough from me, tell me. I didn't get enough from Dale. He was, he didn't help us enough. That's okay, but don't sit and say I learned a lot of leadership and then demonstrate in that 1 hour that you didn't. Is my point. We should be thoroughly impressed with your leadership, and that nothing to do with your project. We should be thoroughly impressed with your leadership when we leave that 1 hour. Your project's immaterial. You were the project. So do not tell us you can wash more dogs with 2 people, twice as many as you can with 1. We can do the math. We got that. And don't tell us about how you grew as a leader, but at the same time, don't tell us you grew, but then blame others for not doing, your project not turning out better or the way you wanted it to. And 3, going back to the original, make sure that your person understands that's in the room with you, your site supervisor understands what you're going to say, so that they won't be surprised and they won't feel like they've been blindsided like we had one a couple years ago. So if you can do those things, we're golden. All right, back to business here.
I have a question, and it probably is something that doesn't really matter, but as far as ordering, so the reference page and then the appendix or the attachment, I guess it's appendix. So our literature review is one of those, right?
Yeah, your PLR.
And then, yes, and our bibliography goes with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, okay. Does it matter which order it goes in?
You'll be able to tell from that template of that executive summary.
That's what I'm pulling up right now.
Yeah, they'll be. So Dr. Lamb, I've got another thing coming up at 8:30. So I want to just jump in just here for a second. And then
okay.
I want to encourage all of you. I know Dr. Lamb's y'all's coach, but you can email me if you have any questions about it. So here's kind of a quick overview of how the timeline will go. So once you get the executive summary, there's the template for it right there.
Yeah.
As you go in there and start filling that stuff in, I've told others, there's some italics in there, which is directions. The biggest tip I would give you is don't delete those directions yet. You go ahead and write underneath it and leave that. And then when Dr. Lamb tells you it's good to go back in and delete all the directions in there.
Right.
Sure enough, as soon as you delete it, you'll wonder what it said.
Yeah, this template, this is.
Yep. And so
leave the directions.
For now, you'll take them off at the very, very end. You'll delete all the italics. So then, so May 29th is when you need to have the executive summary, put in your stuff, answer all those items. In addition to having that ready, you will have the PLR. That will be one of your addendums. That PLR and this document, the executive summary, is what will go to the editor. And you need to do that by May 29th. And you don't have to wait till May 29th, but by May 29th, you need to do that. Now, In that Defense Resources, there should be a document for Dr. Chris Davis. Dr. Davis is your editor. You'll want to fill that out and attach that to it as well. That's how he gets paid. Now, after he finishes the editing, which again, it's a very quick turnaround, a couple of days, maybe a week at the most, he'll send it back to you, and you'll just want to hang on to it. Don't change it. Once it comes back from the editor, you just hang on to it. And then the only thing left for you to do is once you get it back is you need to start working with Dr. Lamb on your presentation for your presentation, like the slides and that kind of thing. Now, Dr. Lamb will give you instructions on when he wants that from you, but you've got plenty of time between May 29th and the 1st of July to get all that done.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
We don't put the slides as an appendix in the executive summary then?
Correct. It will not be a part of the executive summary. However, it will be a part of Digital Commons, which is a digital repository. You'll have your executive summary, and as one of the addendums will be the PLR. And if you have other addendums, like if your project required a budget or if your project had some other document, that would be addendum, the second or third or fourth. So you may have other addendums. But when it goes to Digital Commons, the executive summary, and when I say executive summary, I'm including all the addendums, which means your PLR is already in there, and a PDF of your presentation slides. Those two things go to Holly Mabry. That's on your checklist. You'll email her and send her those documents. She'll send your executive summary, including all the addendums. You'll send the slides as a PDF, and then the third document, and it's in Defense Resources, is the permission slip. You'll have to do, that's it right there. You will fill that out, and that just gives Holly and the university permission that you're allowed that to be up there. Now, she will probably email you back. Well, she will email you back that she's got it. And as I tell all my students, when you get an email from Holly Mabry saying that she's got it, your project is done, because that way she has it. Now, it won't be published right away. It'll probably be into the summer, first of the fall, before you can actually go to Digital Commons online and see it. But you'll be done with your project at that point. So after you finish your presentation in July and you get those slides converted to a PDF, and when you get that email to Holly and you get the return, you'll notice in the checklist that you should carbon Dr. Lamb on all of this. Okay, so when you email Holly, carbon Dr. Lamb so he's in the loop. She'll keep him carboned on all communication, and then at that point you are done with your project. The only thing you'll have left to do is finish your last class this summer, and then you'll be on your way.
And Dr. Hamilton, I do have a question. I know the first draft of the executive summary is due in 753. Is the final draft part of 753 as well?
No.
No, that can roll on over. We've just put all the materials in the 753 shell so that you have it in one place. So you'll have a 755 shell for this summer, but you won't need that 755 shell. Everything is in the 753 that you'll need to finish everything up.
Okay, summer session starts on May the 18th.
Okay.
And remember, this is not due to the 29th.
Right.
So
the next question is graduation. Should we plan for summer graduation or not? Is there going to be a summer graduation, or do we know what this?
The university has moved what was supposed to be the May graduation to August 1st, which means you folks get to participate in it. Now, the bad side of that is I'm not so sure the August graduation is going to take place. So, whether we have it in August depends on, if we've reopened and we're allowing crowds to get back together, which I'll be kind of surprised, but you never know. So right now the plan is for there to be an August graduation. That would be the May completers as well as the summer completers. But that's the plan right now. They sent an email out today that if on that day, there'll be it'll be a For graduate programs, it'll be a 3 p.m. ceremony in August. I don't remember what date that was. Dr. Lamb, you remember? Was it the 1st? August 1st. Yeah, August 1st.
August 1st is what I've got.
So that's the plan. And you folks will be able to, so if you hadn't applied for graduation, I guess you probably need to apply. Do you think that's right, Dr. Lamb?
Yep.
Yeah, you'll need to, you can do that online with the registrar page if you hadn't done that, or give them a call and just find out on that. I know this is all, it's all changing in real time because of the governor's orders and all that stuff. But anyway, that's the process. But again, you can email me or anybody. I'll help you. I've got 13 other folks that are finishing at the same time. They're at the same place you are. And but right now, I would just focus on the executive summary. Complete that through the lens of your development as a leader. Dr. Lamb will check off and say it's good, and then you just, you'll get it back from the editor and just hang on to it. And again, I'm counting the PLR as part of the executive summary because it's an addendum. It's
All right. And so that's what I was going to address next. I would prefer that your PLR come at the end in the appendices.
Yeah.
But I do want it submitted with, the final one that goes to the editor. I do want that to be a part of that PLR. Needs to be a part of that.
Yeah, because you want the editor to edit all of that.
That is correct.
Yeah. So that's true.
I do
You
not
want all
want
of
to
that
do
in
that.
there.
So copy and paste it into there. It shouldn't be a separate document.
It should be a separate document as taxed as an appendices. Yeah.
I think that's fine for it to be a separate document, as long as the editor gets to
as
get
long
it
as
back
it's in
to
the
you.
appendices, it goes to the editor.
That'll be fine.
Yeah. It should be part of the appendices. Your PLR.
I didn't see anything on here, maybe I just missed it, about like line spacing. Is this entire thing double spaced? Is it whatever this is in italics, which I think is probably maybe 1.15?
I'm sure, that's a good question. Hold on, and while Dr. Lamb, I'll look that up real quick. Give me a second.
APA 7th is what we'll be using. The university adopted it for everybody starting with this spring for consultancy project and dissertations. APA 7. In that, I believe the directions or the headings are at 1.5, but the body is always double spaced. And the biggest difference to me, and we've worked with our students on this, is instead of writing in third person passive, the candidate did this, or I did this, or I did that, you write in first person. Which is writing more like you would talk rather than in third person. You write in first person, active voice. That's the biggie. But yeah, directions are usually 1.5. Body is 2, is double space. But your editor will help you with that as well. But that's what I would go with right now. The biggest thing is write it as you speak, write it in first person. All right. So back to so here there is a 7th edition APA. We have that for you here under your defense resources, and so you might want to spend some time with that. This is a link to the library that will help you with that. Again, you're doing the first one I clicked on here. Davis is your editor. How to write your abstract, that will be done at the end. And there's the Dropbox for your first draft, as you already know. So I think we've covered everything underneath here. I'll pause and catch my breath. Does anybody have any questions on any of those things? And then, of course, we've got this that just reminds you of everything that's due, and tells you how to write your 10 and how to write your PLR. We'll click on that one. How to write it, the outline for writing it, and then the rubric. So all your materials are there. And I'll simply copy this one over to the 755 shell that you'll be getting for summer. And so, see who's texting me. All right, other questions that you have?
Dr. Lamb, I was going to mention, inside the executive summary, it is single-spaced. Because it's not a dissertation, it's an executive summary.
Okay,
so it
the
follows
summary's
rules.
single space. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
It is 12-point font, and should be probably, I think we said what, New York? I mean, Times New Roman, yeah. 12-point. But look, your editor's going to catch most of that for you.
Yeah.
So that's what you're paying the editor for. The editor catches the font size, margins, indentation, all that stuff. So that's in there. So, but go ahead and write it single space, because that's what they're going to end up putting it back anyway. So you'll be good. Now PLR, this is the first time we've done the PLR. That may go in double space, but I'm not sure yet. But you don't need to worry about that. What you get it ready content wise, and the editor will put it whatever it needs to be. Thank y'all. Hey, it's good to see all of you. Congratulations. I hope your spring has gone well and that you've been able to stay healthy. It's good to see you. I look forward to seeing your presentations in the 1st of July. I'll be at them all, and I can't wait. You're going to do great. Folks have done really well. I'm very proud of you. So y'all take care, and we'll see you soon.
Bye. Thank you.
All righty.
You're welcome.
All right. And so under assignments, you've got your milestone 10 drop boxes under that. And so everything should be here under this. Defense resources, we've covered all those. Requirements, assignments. Again, be thinking about your final presentation when that hour is going to be a PowerPoint. I suggest no more than 20 slides. And remember, don't have slides with a lot of little small words on them. About 30 words per slide, about 20 slides. And again, focus on what you learned in 32. How have you developed as a leader? Lessons that you've learned in leadership along the way. That's really what we're interested in. Remember, the project was you. And if you can remember that, then you'll have the right perspective when we get there. All right, what's next? Everybody good?
Are we definitely doing these projects on Zoom? That decision was made. Okay.
Yeah, we won't change that. We'll do them on Zoom. We're going to do that through the summer. That decision has already been made.
Do you think then that we will send you guys, at some point you had mentioned giving everyone a copy of this so they could see the copy as we are presenting? Do we just send you an electronic copy to everyone who plans on attending? Or do you still need a hard copy?
No, just an electronic copy.
Okay.
Just an electronic copy. Yeah, but everybody needs to see your executive summary that needs to go out with your announcement. I'm quite sure all of you know how to create a Zoom link. And the problem is going to be, if you don't have a pro account, it cuts off at 40 minutes. And so what I will do is I can create these for you. You tell me when you're ready, and we'll create the links. Now, right now, this is what I've got booked. Jessica is at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, the 30th of June. Lori is at 10 a.m. on the 7th of July. Jade's at 1 o'clock on the 7th of July, and Bruce is at 2 o'clock on the 7th of July. And so 1, 2, 3, 4. David is going to get back to me. And so what I will do as we get closer to the time, if those dates stay the same, I will create the link from my pro account, and those are unlimited on time. We still won't get in and out in an hour though, but we will use those links. So what happens is, since it's coming from my link, as soon as we come on, I will make you the host, where we'll be viewing your screen, and I'll be recording it on my computer. That way we're sure we have that. And so sometime over after summer starts, and we're sure that these dates are we get a couple weeks out, and we're sure that these dates are good, and we don't have to move them because of somebody's schedule, I'll create the links. I'll do an automatic record so that we can't not record them. I'll send those to you. You send them out along with your executive summary and an electronic copy of it, and we'll convene on the time that you have via Zoom. I'll make you the host, and you can share your screen, and you'll show your you'll do your slideshow. It goes fairly, as we've done before, it goes fairly quickly, just like when we do case studies and you share your screen. It'll go well. That was the good thing about us. We'd already, we've been doing this for, the whole time. And so it's not a big change for us. It is for some people, but it's not for us. It's just another day. So, in some ways it's harder. In some ways it's easier than doing it face to face. It's harder in that, we're doing it electronically. It's easier that people don't seem to get stage fright as bad. And some people do get stage fright, but it's all people so I mean, it's not like that it should be overwhelming. I mean, you folks are professionals. You do projects and presentations all the time, so it shouldn't be that big a deal. I don't mean to minimize your anxiety, but I think you'll be fine. I don't think it'll be a problem. All right, what's next? All right, we can get together in Zoom as often as you want to. Just remember, I have class on Wednesday nights at 7. Other than that, I'm pretty much available. We Zoom a lot during the day, but in the evenings, I'm pretty available, other than 7 on Wednesdays. So, sounds good. All right, I'll send this video out. Thank you, y'all. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good week.
Bye.
Good night.